Good morning, Rabbi Isai. L'ilui nishmas Morosi Bas Mordechai. I'd like to dedicate today's shir to my sister Adina Basrus, who's having surgery right now. She should have a Refuah Shlema. I'd like to dedicate today's shir to all the Chaylim, all those who are captured and need a Yeshua B'Karov. Shir Lamalois. Mimama Kim Krosicha Adonai Shemo B'Koili. Tienos Necho Kashuvois L'Koi Tachanonoi. Im Avinois Tishmor Yo Adonai Miyamoi. Kimcha Slichol Lemanti Vorei. Kivisi Adonai Kivso Nafshi V'Lidvoroi Cholti Nafshi Ladinoi. Shemrim Laboike Yachei Yisrael El Adonai. Kim Adonai Chesed V'Arbei Moifedus V'Hu Yivdes Yisrael Mikol Avonu Yisrael V'Cheinu Kol Beis Yisrael Hanesunim B'Tzoro U'Bashivyo U'Bashivyo Ha'imdim Bein Bayom U'Bein Bayabosh Mokim Rachim Alayhem V'Yitzim Mitzoro L'Rvocho Ma'Afeilu Lo'iro U'Mishibu L'Gulo Hashto Bagalo V'Zman Koriv V'Noimar Omein. Rabbi Isai, before we go on, I know we're in terrible matzav, and I didn't want to discuss the Shabbaton. It's coming up in 2 weeks, and we ask G'dolei Hador, G'dolei HaPoiskim. And in fact, today I sent another one of our good chaverim to ask Reb Osher Weiss, and he said that we must continue with the Shabbos. It's a Shabbos of achdus. It's a Shabbos of celebrating Torah, celebrating the siyum of half a shas, siyum on Seder Noshim, siyum on Mesechtes Kiddushin. It's getting together Klal Yisrael, and it's just a Shabbos of chizuk. It was never meant to be a Shabbos of hisoilulos, of just having a good time. It was a Shabbos of chizuk. And we're going to hear Divrei Torah and speeches from Reb YY, from Reb Aryeh ben Shushan, and many others, all chizuk. And I'm asking you, if you haven't booked, please book. Many people from Eretz Yisrael, their flights are canceled and all sorts of things. They can't come for one reason or another. So the Shabbos needs more chizuk than ever. And if you haven't booked, now is the time to book. It's mamish going to be one of a kind. In fact, Reb Osher said that we have to tone it down. No crazy music. It has to be more shirei regesh, more of a kumzitz matzav, more seriousness. But it's going to be unbelievable. So, Rabbi Isai, book today. Don't push it off another day. Just chizuk for me, chizuk for everybody that's coming. We all need the chizuk, and we're all going to be mechazik one another. Let's do this. The Masechta is sponsored by Lakewood and Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because torah and achdus are the best segula. Paras HaChodesh, Nishma Zechrya ben Moshe. Paras HaChodesh, Nishma Zechrya bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh, Hatzlocha L'zechus Yosef Mayer ben Rochel, and YIDDEN worldwide. Parnas Hayoim, just blank. Parnas Hayoim, Avi Sherman on the 12th yahrzeit of his mother. L'ilui nishmas Ya'elas bas Avraham, Chana, Aleha Shalom. Shnifter Shabbos Kodesh Marchshon. And for the zchus of Shmuel Aryeh ben Sor Yochebed and everyone on the front lines in Artzeinu HaGdoisha. Day 3, to get rid of my tenant at 76. I don't know what that means. I hope it's not something against somebody. Aharon ben Yutah. Gedalia Miller, zchus, YIDDEN Eretz Yisrael, and Hatzlocha Kesher Nafshi Shabbaton next Shabbos. They're going forward because it's a Tzarech Gadol. We are going to go forward. It's a celebration of Torah. No air conditioning in this room, so we're going to have to sweat it out. MDY headquarter, coffee, corner, beverages, L'ilui nishmas Tzipora Fego Bas Reb Tuvia Zechron Levracha. In honor of the month, Yosef ben Chai Sarah, for all the zchusim that come from supporting Limud Torah. All right. So it's taka, as Reb Osher said also. It should be a Shabbos, Refuah Shlema for the Chaylim, and zchus for the pidyon of the Shvuyim. Literally, what we say every day. That's what he said. Those were his words. That was his idea. It should be a Shabbos for their zchus. It should be a Shabbos l'zeichen nishmas, all those who were killed at Kiddush Hashem because they were YIDDEN, they were killed. Says the Heilige Mishnah. Kidashti is biti. A father says, I received Kiddushin from my daughter, and therefore she's usher to the world. Kidashtiya v'girashtiya. But I also received the gerushin. She's a ktana. I can receive the gerushin, a get for her. Now she's mutter. Kshiktana. Now I'm saying that she's pasal kahuna. I'm stating a fact. As a father, I'm saying my daughter is pasal kahuna. She's a divorcee. Just reminds me of a maisa that there was a bacher, a very problematic boy in yeshiva, and everybody told him, hey, you're never going to get married. You're problematic. It turns out that they were all wrong. He got married more times than anybody else in yeshiva. That was a joke that Elimelech told me back in the day, and I had to say it at least once. I might have said it before, who knows. So, Varei Ktana, and she's still a Ktana, Neman, the fathers believed. Why? We're going to see in the Gemara. So, you could say, it makes sense logically, the fathers believed. It's like, he has a migui, he can marry her off, he can receive a get. The Gemara is going to say, no. It's Xeris HaKosov. This is a pasuk. Kidashtiya v'girashtiya kshiktano, and I received Kiddushin and a get when she was a Ktana Varei Gdoila. Now she's an adult. Now he's not believed. Nishbis ubdisiya. She was captured, and I redeemed her. Bein chi ktano, bein chi gdoila, einoi neman. Whether she's a ktano, whether she's a gdoila, he's not believed. He's trying to say that she was captured, and therefore she's also the kuhuna. Rabboisa, you hear what's going on here? We're talking about shvuyim. We're talking about people that were captured, and the Mishnah says that they're also likuna. Why they're also likuna? Because they're violated by the Rishoyim. Violated. There was a story, I looked it up and I found it here. It's on the screen, it's chart 1. It says a father's daughter, they came and they told his father that your daughter was killed. I saw the interview on CNN. It's brought down here. And he said, thank you Hashem. Thank you Hashem that she was killed. Because had she been captured, what would have they done to my 8-year-old daughter? I know these Rishonim. They wouldn't give her water. They wouldn't give her food. She would be in a dark place, scared. For who knows how many years, he said. Who knows how many years? There's a father during Shiva, during his pain. Now, I personally, I'm not in his place, Baruch Hashem. I don't think that's our ashkafa. Personally, I didn't ask a gadol, but I would say that life is life, and you hope that she would get out of there with the trauma, and it would be a lifetime of trauma, but what a person could achieve in a lifetime. Look at what people achieved after the war. So, I would say I keep it the Tehillim here, but I don't have a Tehillim with me, and I don't want to make any mistakes. All right. But this is the idea of Shvuyim, which brings to mind, a lot of people ask about the Gemara. The Gemara keeps on talking about a 7-year-old married. How do you marry a 7-year-old kid, an 8-year-old kid? The Gemara keeps on talking about this. And we have to remember that just recently, just not so long ago, maybe within the last 100 years, people lived even in places like Morocco, where it's commonplace to get married at 7, 8 years old. Why? Because a girl could be walking to school and that Russia cousin of ours grabs her and she never comes home. Never comes home. But he wouldn't grab a Ishasish. He wouldn't grab the married woman. So if you marry her off at 7, 8 years old, she's safe. So we don't understand how people used to live then. It just gives us another. Somebody threw out it was not a joke, and I was upset at him during share. He says, "Oh, call the police." We don't understand what people went through. And in order to save one's daughter, he would marry her off. It doesn't mean that anything happened. It just means she was officially married to so-and-so. I even met somebody that said that his great-grandmother was married at 7 years old to a 15-year-old. And he said, like, they would just wait in the wings, and this was your chassan eventually, but just that the guy shouldn't grab her. Okay. So if a father says, I know that she was captured and I redeemed her, so she's now also the kohen. Bein shiktano, bein shigdoila inu nemon. Whether she's a ktana, whether she's a gdoila, it doesn't matter. Even if she's a ktana, inu nemon, he doesn't have nemonos. Ask the Gemara, Maishna Reisha or Maishna Seifa, why? What's the difference between a ktana, a gdoila? What's the difference between a captured girl or a ktana? Why, when it's a ktana, he's believed? When she's a gdoila, he's not believed. Or when she's a captured girl, he's not believed. Two questions. Says Gemara, Reisha b'didei biyodei seifa la biyodei. When it's in the father's hand to do something, he could go ahead and receive Kiddushin for her. Then he's believed. When it's not in his hand, he's not believed. V'lo, asked the Gemara, v'arei biyodei asiyah l'cholol, the apostle mikuna. He could marry her off and make her apostle l'kuna. Now the question, the obvious question that everybody's going to have is, we just said he can marry off to a regular person, receive a get from a regular person. That's biyodai. Even the get part, the Mishnah understands, or the Gemara understands in the Mishnah that it's in his hand. So you already made her apostle l'kuna. Why do you have to come out to chalal? Chalal is that a kohen is not allowed to marry a divorcee, and if he does, the kid is a chalal. So the Gemara understands that he can marry his daughter off to this chalal, and she'll be apostle. She'll be apostle kunim by marrying him. So Rashi on the spot says, no, what we're talking about is by marrying off to chalal. Yes, you can make her also to kuhuna by marrying her off to Yisrael and accepting a divorce from Yisrael, and now she's apostle kuhuna. We're adding one more step. Now she's apostle truma by marrying her off to a chalal. We're trying to add the truma component. Says Gemara, Halekasha, Kirib Dostoi ben Yehuda. What are you asking? The father it's in his ability to marry off to a chalal and therefore making her apostle even for truma. No, because we go like Reb Dostoi ben Yehuda, the Amar b'nei Yisrael mikveh tahar lechalalim. Not true that a father who marries his daughter to chalal fakert. Let me just jump ahead here. It's chart number 4, Yosef. And the chart says, and Rashi brings this, Kol shata noisa bitoy. If you can marry this girl, atanoisa, if you can marry this person's daughter, atanoisa almanosoi. Again, Kol shata noisa bitoy, atanoisa almanosoi. If I can marry the daughter, because the Gemara says that b'nai Yisrael mikveh tahar lechalalim, a person was born from a shidduch of a kohen and a divorcee, which he's not allowed to marry, his daughter is not a chalala. You can marry his daughter. So if you can marry his daughter, you can marry his wife. In other words, the wife doesn't become possible marrying this chalal. Says Gemara, did I say it correctly? So that it's clear. A chalal that comes from a union of a kohen and a divorcee, he's a chalal. If he marries any woman, you can marry the daughter and you can marry the woman herself. She herself doesn't become possible. Says the Gemara, the father still has power to marry off to mamzer and therefore make her apostle. Says the Gemara, Reb Kiddushin goes to the Reb Kiva that says you cannot marry off your daughter to a mamzer because the Kiddushin won't grab. Says the Gemara, but even Reb Kiva agrees, according to Reb Simai, that yes, you cannot marry off to a mamzer, but you can marry her off to, if she's a divorcee. The father still has the right to marry off if she's a divorcee from Kiddushin, not from Nisuin. He has the right to marry off to a Kohen Gadol. Or, yeah. Amon al Kohen Gadol. Reb Simai, the sign Reb Simai Omer. Menakala is Reb Akiva mamzer chutz ma'amon al Kohen Gadol. Reb Akiva says any union, any kind of bad shidduch, the kid is a mamzer. Besides one thing, Amon al Kohen Gadol. Sharei Omer Torah lo yikach v'lo yichal. It's in the same pasuk says lo yikach v'lo yichal. It's not the same pasuk, but it's a pasuk later. Chilulim oisa ve'in oisa mamzerim. The Kohen Gadol can make a chalal, but he can't make a mamzer. Says the Gemara of the Amar Boyu v'nitzvach al Akiva Yosef. In Rebbe Kiva, there's a Rebbe Sheva who says, let's scream at Rebbe Kiva. So there's a Vilna Gaon that says, why does it say, let's scream on Akiva ben Yosef? Says the Vilna Gaon, because we know the halacha is like Rebbe Kiva everywhere, when it's one against one. Rebbe Kiva mechavei roi, v'loi mechavei rav. Where Rebbe Kiva argues on his friends, then we don't hold like Rebbe Kiva. So says Rebbe Sheva, he screamed out, help me, come to my team. Once you're on my team, we'll be more than 1 against 1. We'll be 2, 5 against 1, and then we'll beat Rebbe Akiva. Shahaya Oimer, Rebbe Akiva used to say, Kol she'en le'bi b'Yisrael v'lad mamzer. So, no. Everything is a mamzer. Even Alman al-Kohen Gadol. If Rebbe Sheva is saying his own pshat in Rebbe Akiva, it had nothing to do with answering this thing or answering Rebbe Simai. He was saying what he understood in Rebbe Akiva. Okay. But if he's just going up against Rebbe Simai and he's trying to undo Rebbe Simai and say, no, Alman al-Kohen Gadol, Rebbe Akiva says, is a mamzer. In other words, Rebbe Sheva also leaves, it's possible. The Gemara is just saying, maybe Rebbe Sheva doesn't say a blanket statement in Rebbe Akiva. It's possible that Rebbe Sheva says any type of shidduch that's wrong, even if it's a asay, like marrying a mitzvah, which is asay, everything makes a mamzer. Everything, 100%. Okay, so then we don't have a question. But what if Rebbe Sheva wasn't saying 100%? He was just talking to Rebbe Simai, saying, you say that Amon Kohen Gadol doesn't make a mamzer. No, he doesn't make a mamzer. But Rebbe Akiva has a bunch of cases that don't create a mamzer. For instance, a mitzri, an adaimi, which they are chayve asay and not chayve lavim. So therefore, again, once again, the father has the power to make her possible. Omer Rav Ashi, this is Bereshim Shum de Biyadehu. So Rashi, oh, you learn wrong shad. What do you think? It's a common sense svara that the father has the right to marry off an answer. Therefore, we believe him? No, it's a gzeres hakasov, and I'll prove it to you. But this Bereshim Shum de Biyadehu, it's in his hand. Neither Biyadeh Kacha, Biyadeh Garsha. Father has the right to get his to marry off his daughter, but it's still not in his hands to divorce her. He can't force the husband to divorce her. Void, another proof. What do you mean he has the power to marry her off? Only if the guy agrees to marry her. But he can't force anybody to marry his daughter, so it's not in his hands. He can't do it forcefully. It's exeris hakosov kiravuna domaravuna. Omar Rav, he says the name Rav. Says how do you know a father has the right? 2 things. First of all, to make her usher on the world. He has the right to be believed that he gave his daughter to this man. Lo ish asra. He has the right to ask her. Hazeh hitiro. That's a heter to the world. So that pasuk said, "B'nesuin hemnei rachman alav." Only by marriage. B'shvuya loy hemnei. And when it comes to captivity, there's no pasuk, and therefore he's not believed. Says the Heilige Mishnah. Person at his deathbed, he says, I have children, and if I have children, my wife is not chayiv in yibum. Neman is believed, but if he says I have brothers, and all of a sudden now she's potter from yibum, we never knew he had his brothers, so she's chayiv. He says, oh, by the way, you potter from yibum, I have brothers. Einer Neman is not believed. Says the Gemara, you see from here, Alma, or a person is believed to make his wife mutter liyibum and not also in liyibum, or I'm sorry, lahater to the world, mutter to the world, and not as lesser to the world. This is different than Reb Nasan. Why? The Sanyam Shas Kiddushin Omar Yesh Libanim of a person who, as he's getting married, he tells his wife, "Don't worry, you think I'm sick and I'm going to die, and you've been in chayiv. Don't worry, I have a child somewhere. Maybe it's a shidduch of an older couple, whatever. Don't worry about it. I have children." B'shas misa ma'in leibanim, and then later on, this same individual, after he got married and he got her, so to speak, oh, we're married, and then after he's about to die, he says, by the way, I don't have children, now you're chayiv in yibum. Or b'shas kiddushin omar in lo yachim. So again, he started off the marriage saying you're not chayiv in yibum. Then after by his death, he says you are chayiv. B'shas kiddushin omar in lo yachim. Or during the Kiddushin, he says, I don't have brothers, therefore what? You're potter from Yibum. Again, pater from yibum. I have children or I have a brother. B'shas misoma yesh lo yachim. And during his death, I missed these charts. Sorry. So, I don't know, Yosef, if you want to insert these charts, chart 2 and chart 3, just 3-4 minutes back when I was talking about Rabbi Sheva and Rabbi Simai. It's complicated because we're not working with a computer that Yosef sees the charts at the same time as we're giving shir. And Memela, he doesn't really know what I'm talking about, what charts I'm saying, and what I'm referring to. So I hope he's moichel me. I hope you're moichel if you don't see these charts. Oh, okay. Says the Gemara. When he got married, he says, I don't have brothers, therefore you parted from Yibum. And then as he's dying, he says, I have brothers. A person is believed to say that she's parted from Yibum, but he's not Nema to say that she's also. A person is believed both ways. So our Mishnah that says that he's not Nema to Aser is not like Reb Elchanan. At a person's deathbed, a person regrets. He doesn't want to put his wife in a situation where she's chayev and avera. Oh, we could believe whatever he says. He's trying to say, listen, you thought that you don't have yibum, you could just marry anybody you want. I'm telling you that you're going to be over Isser. You can't marry anybody you want. I don't have children. But in the Mishnah, what happens is, the Mishnah, he didn't retract. Over here, he's retracting. He had one statement when they got married. So maybe he was a shyster. He's mamish pulling her leg when they got married to calm her down. Oh, I have sons. Don't worry about it. You're not chayv. And at his deathbed, he's being a big tzaddik. He doesn't want her to do an avera. Okay. But in our Mishnah, it's only a guy opening up his mouth when he's dying. So perhaps when he's dying, he's trying to cause her pain and aggravation. They were in a big fight, and he's just saying, oh, by the way, Yechayev in Yibum, whatever, you can't marry anybody. It's interesting, I once heard that even one of the rayas that they say about Yiddishkeit is like, how is it possible that a whole generation, let's say in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, invented the whole thing of Matan Torah. A whole generation, millions of people said we saw, and they gave it over to their sons and the sons' sons. Or even a later generation. They all got together, a big meeting, and they said, let's all lie that we saw Matan Torah, Moshe Rabbeinu went up, the whole thing, Har Sinai. So let's say that happened. So the next time is, what, no one on their deathbed ever told their son, hey, by the way, I was part of this big conspiracy lie. No one ever said that. That's also a problem. How is it possible that nobody ever said that on their deathbed? Because people on their deathbed, many times, bring out the truth. Like I said, once before, I had one of my employees was telling me a couple times, she told me stories, and finally she said that her father on his deathbed said that he's Jewish. He never told her entire life. And that the reason why he didn't say it is because Jews wanted to kill him wherever he went, because she didn't really say exactly, but I understood from that he was Gestapo, he was a snitch during the World War II, and they wanted to kill him. But things come out on a deathbed. But over here we're talking about that on his deathbed, he says a lie to get her good. So just reminds the famous story. There's two sisters that were extremely angry at each other, and they were in a huge fight their entire life, basically. They never spoke to each other. One of the sisters, on her deathbed, said, please call my sister. So the family is very excited, finally. So the sister comes in, and she, very weak, she whispers to her sister, she says, come close, I want to whisper in your ear. Come closer. And when the sister got really close, she bit her sister's ear with all her might, and she died. How terrible a fight and anger and machloikis, and today especially, we got to do tshuva, and we got to, I think the right way to do it is to start with ourselves. Each one, any fight that they have, we should do a little tshuva between ourselves and our people that we're fighting with. And as a general klal, seriously, maybe we could all get together at the Shabbaton and be misached, do a whole commotion to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about achdus. Omar le Abaye. So Abaye tells Rava, what you're saying doesn't make so much sense to me. V'lav kol dechenu, isn't this kavachomer? Hashtu ma'os and the komar le debura. When a person is retracting his words, when he got married, he said, I have kids. You're parted from you. When he's dying, he's saying, I don't. So he looks like a fool. He's contradicting himself. But it's okay. Amis kushtakal mar. You're saying, oh, he's probably saying the truth when he's dying. Masnisin the loy komar le debure, loy kolshke. The Mishnah where he's not retracting, he's making one final statement at his deathbed. Why wouldn't they believe him then? Elor Abaye masnisin loy muchzaglam ba'achei v'loy muchzaglam b'banei. The Mishnah is talking about a case, a regular case. This person, like a guy getting married, 20-year-old, he probably doesn't have sons, kids, and he probably doesn't have brothers unless you see them by the wedding. Why would you think that a person has brothers if nobody showed up to the wedding? So therefore, what? Bottom line, she's parted from Yibam. She's parted from Yibam, even though he died without children, but there's no brothers, so he can't do Yibam. So right now, chazaka, no Yibam. There's no chazaka that he has children or brothers. So if he says, I have children, I have sons, he's believed. Because anyway, she's parted from Yibam. So now he says sons, he's just enforcing it. So Rashi asks, so what do you mean he's believed? Forget that he's believed. Right now, status quo, she's parted from Yibam. No sons, no brothers, parted from Yibam. So the fact that he says, I have sons, continues that he's parted in Yibam. So what do you mean he's believed? Yeah, without being believed, he's believed. So Rashi says he's believed that if somebody shows up later on, like in the time of the Vilna Gaon, when the guy showed up in shul and he said, oh, I'm so-and-so's husband. If somebody shows up and says, I'm so-and-so's brother, and I have to be miyab in this woman, we don't believe him. Because we already believed the dead person that he doesn't have, that he does have sons, and therefore we don't believe this guy that he's a brother. That's the chiddush. So when he says, I have brothers, and therefore you chayiv in Yibam, he's not believed. Because it's not in his power, because it's already established that he doesn't have brothers, he doesn't have sons. So when he's on his deathbed, he says, oh, by the way, I have brothers, and therefore you can't marry anybody in the world. We don't believe him. Brisa. But the Brisa, on the other hand, Daf Amud Beis, the muchzaglam ba'achi, v'lo muchzaglam b'banei. So we do have. I don't have the. Sorry, these charts for some reason are out of whack. Somehow they got out of whack. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's a guy in deathbed. This is chart number 7. And we believe him that he has sons. We don't believe him that he has brothers. Now, if he's muchzak, the brisa, he's muchzak that he has brothers. This is chart 8. And then you push the button. And what happens is, you see, because he has brothers, so therefore she's she's kuka to Yibam. Oh, so Mali the Shakir, now we go back to a different chart. Mali the Shakir is chart number 6, and you push the button here. This is more of a humorous kind of thing. So this is Pinchasio. Mali the Shakir, why should a guy lie? Michael Amar, Lumifter Miyavam, what does he say? He's trying to say, oh, I have sons, and therefore you don't have to have Yibum with my brothers. Even though we have a chazaka, we saw the brothers at the wedding, so everybody knows he has brothers. But if he's trying to get her out of the Yibum, and he's lying, and he says, I have sons, and therefore she's parted from Yibum, Motzi Omar, Patana Begita. All he has to say is, I'll divorce you a moment before my death. I know I'm dying, so don't worry about it. To get her out of Yibam, it's easy. Just give her a get. My very, very good friend, you all know who he is, but I don't know if he wants me to say. So he went today to Reb Elchanan to ask him about the Shabbaton. Yosef Klein went to his Rabbanim, and the G'daylim and the Salagans went, and I said, I hear all these G'daylim. I want to ask somebody in Eretz Yisrael, somebody that's accepted upon everybody, Reb Elchanan. He said we could use his name. Not in print, but to say. Reb Elchanan is getting shilas today. It's unbelievable. Husbands are going out to war in Eretz Yisrael, and they're asking about writing gittin to their wives. What if they don't come back? What if to give these gittin that Klal Yisrael for generations were giving? We spoke about it. We showed, I believe, in Shir once. We had these gittin a whole. Even in the American army, they were doing it. These are the kind of shilas. Maisa sheb'chol yom, maisa of today. Literally today, yesterday, question about how do I write the get and should I write the get? People going to war. So he's saying, I could give you a get the moment before and that will pater you. Some people give a get not because they're in a fight, because they want to save their wife. Rebbe Sovar, Mali Shaka Kedem Dami. This concept of Mali l'Shakar, why should I lie? I could just give you a get, has the power of Eidim. Very powerful. Vasu Eidim. And these Eidim are so powerful, Akri Chazaka. They uproot the Chazaka, and therefore comes out that, what's her Chazaka? That he has brothers and she's Chayving Yibum. Now this taina of Mali l'Shakar is so powerful, it uproots that Chazaka and she's potter from Yibum. We have 1 and 1. They're equal. Mali Shaker and a Chazaka. And Mela, since they're equal and it can't uproot it, now she's chayiv in yibum. Now we have a freebie because we learned this word for word right through the whole sugya. Hamakadosh beat this time. A person who says, I don't remember, I received Kiddushin from my daughter, but I don't remember which one. It's not his older daughter that's already 12 and a half years old. A person has 2 sets of girls. A woman told me that she's from a second marriage, and her father calls the kids from the first marriage Team 1 and Team 2. 2 teams. A person married 2 women, and he has girls. You remember the sugi because we just had it not so long ago, 2 weeks ago. So when he was younger, he had 1 wife. Then he got divorced from that wife, or she died, and then he had another wife. So he has older daughters and younger daughters. And he says, I accepted Kiddushin from my older daughter. Now, there's 3 possibilities. He has 4 daughters. It could be 3 things. Here we go. It says chart 8, but it's the chart with 4 women. And I'm clicking now. I don't know if it's the G'doyla Shebeg'doylois. So the older of the 2 older ones starts flashing. Or click again. Or the younger one of the older one. Sorry. So it goes either the oldest of Team 1 or the oldest of Team 2. Or the younger one of Team 1. Because the youngest one in Team 1 is older than the oldest one in Team 2. And then you click it again. You see there's 3 X's or whatever, do not enters, on the 3 women. and there's one check, the youngest one of all, that's the only one that he could not have meant, because she's definitely not a gdoila. So Mayer over here is saying, I don't know exactly what he meant. I'm a super. You hear? We have to remember this. Mayer is the one that says, I don't know what he meant. So 3 out of 4 are Asur, 1 is mutter to the world. Click again, and now we have on the side it says Rabbi Yossi. It says 9. They're all mutter besides the oldest one of group 1. The oldest is the oldest. Kiddushin is the aktano. Now we have the same exact case, but now we're talking about the father. Instead of saying I was Mikadosh, the oldest, he said I was Mikadosh, the youngest. Same exact idea. Now we go to the chart 10, that says Ktan on the side. I don't know if it's the youngest of the youngest of team 2, or the youngest of team 1, or the oldest one of team 2, she's younger than all the older ones, and therefore you keep on clicking, and they're all asur besides the check mark on chutz min hakdosh v'gdolos. Reb Meir, Rabbi Yossi Yomer, kulam mutaros chutz min hakdosh v'gdolos. You click again, so they're all mutar besides the ktanos. Says Gemara, how's that possible? Now I have to click all the way back, but maybe Yosef doesn't have to do it. Here we go. I have it here as chart 5. Ask the Gemara, but what are you telling me? That when a father says, I was mekadosh my daughter, and it doesn't mean the begeres, but it means all the young ones. If at the time of the Kiddushin we have no idea who the Kala is, and therefore it's impossible to have relations with her, so it's Kiddushin she'ein mesurim lebiyah, whether or not it grabs or not, the Kiddushin. Over here you see it does grab. Says we had this entire sugya. He was talking about when there's only 2 girls, an older one and a younger one. As Gemara about boygros katani, but it says that there's 2 boygros. My boygros boygros dalma. That a father in general, this category called boygros, father cannot receive kiddushin for her. She's too old to receive kiddushin. It's not talking about this specific case. It's talking about in general. Says Gemara Pshita. I mean, of course, she's too old to accept Kiddushin. What's the Chiddush? The Begeres, 12 and a half, she sent her father Shliach b'mekabel Kiddushin for me. I would think that he has her in mind and not the Ktana. It's mind-boggling. I remember thinking about it then, and I said it then. Today, we don't understand this. Today, if you have an older daughter and a younger daughter, 99% of the people will accept Kiddushin for the older daughter first. Not in the time of the Gemara. They were so poor that 99% of the people will accept Kiddushin for where it hits him good in the pocket. Where is he going to make more money? He's going to make more money when he's Mekadosh his younger daughter. Not when he's Mekadosh the older daughter. Why? Because the older daughter gets to keep the Kiddushin. The younger daughter not. By the way, I forgot to say that Turning the Daf is sponsored for all those in need of Refuah Shlema, Amen. And by Innovations, maybe there is no Turning of the Daf. We'll say it anyways. One freebie. Innovations in honor of my uncle, Reb Elchanan Pressman, and as zchus for a year filled with mazel, bracha, Hatzlocha, and panazim berevach for all of the MDY family. Zog the Gemara. Wait a minute. Yeah, the girl knows that her father is a Meshugana, that for 100 shekel, for $22, he's going to be Mekadesh's daughter out of line and take the be Mekadesh's 7-year-old instead of the 25-year-old. She knows that. So she says, you know what? Keep the $22. Even in such a case. No. He has a mitzvah that says, there's a pasuk that says that you should marry off your daughter. That mitzvah is only for a ktana, not for a gdoila. So he wants to be kind of a mitzvah. This big chashuv yid. Yeah, Grad is going to also make $22. That's not why he's doing it. Chas v'shalom, he's doing it for the mitzvah. There's no mitzvah to marry off your older daughter. So the Gemara, so why does the Mishnah repeat itself twice? A case of the Gdoilus and the Ktanis. It's the same idea. He said Ktana, I don't know. Did he mean the youngest of the young? Did he mean the youngest of the group 1? Did he mean the youngest of the oldest of the group 2, but she's younger than the group 1? It's the same idea. So the Gemara says, in the zchus, it's the same idea. I'll just say Bapeh. Sometimes a person calls the older one. He means the older daughter. It can mean a number of girls. It can mean this one, that one, but not when it comes to Ktana. He doesn't use the word. And then Gemara says the exact opposite svar. Sometimes he says, oh, this is my Mzinka. This is my youngster, my baby, he calls her. But he really means from group 1. Sometimes he calls it group 2. Okay, so let's see inside. Only Remeir says, he argues, the kivin the ikka zutramina lach gdoila karela. He always calls, oh, this is my big kid. Look, such a big kid. But really he has older kids than that. But in the case of Ktana, maybe he agrees, the Ktana lahach, Ktana the kulu kar, he only calls Ktana the youngest of the young. People show off. Sometimes they say, oh, this is my big kid, my big kid. It really has a 50-year-old kid. But he says my big kid on the 10-year-old also. He's my baha, but if it only said by a Ktana, okay, fine. Says the Gemara, seems like from the Mishnah, Remeir wasn't sure. Did he mean the Gdoila of the Gdoila, the Gdoila of the Ktana, the 3 options? And you know what? All 3 are also. So you see, the Remeir says a person, when he says Gdoila, sometimes he could put himself into a suffix. And later on he forgets, and then he's in a big tzara. They all need Yidden. But we said, we know the opposite. It's not. Hanoider, a person makes a neder against his friend. Ad Pesach. I don't want to have anything to do with my friend till Pesach. Also, actually, it reminds me, sometimes of people, it's Ad Pesach. Till Pesach. What does till Pesach mean? Here, another case. Also, until the first day of Pesach. Pesach, when he says until Pesach will be, also then it's until the last day of Pesach. So, husband asks his wife, how can I help you for Pesach? I see you're working so hard. She says, oh, you could help me for Pesach? Maybe take down the sukkah. People, yeah, I'll do it. I'll take care of it. Shalom Aleichem. It's already Pesach. You didn't take down the sukkah. Zog the Gemara. Pesach also. At Pnei Pesach, when a person says to the face of Pesach, what is the face? Pnei. So you see, Remei is very certain what we're talking about. It's until this specific time, till Pesach comes. Rabbi Yossi all of a sudden is a person's, I don't know what he meant. So how come over here Remei is certain, and now our Mishnah is not certain? It's such a bomb kasha. You think that it's not so the biggest hechrach. No, it's such a hechrach that Omer Reb Chanina bar Avdimi Marav Muchleves Hashita. You have to flip the shitas around. Votanya, and I'll prove it to you. Zaklal koshes manikavua. Vomer at Pnei. Remeoim at Shiyetze. Over here, you see Remeir is the one that says at Shiyetze, not at Shiyegia, like we thought a second ago. Why? Because we're flipping it. Rabbi Yossi Oimer ad Shiyegia. And with that, Rabbi Yossi, have a wonderful day. Psuras Toivus in Klai Yisrael. Refuah Shlema to all the Cholim. And a pidyon to all the Shvuyim b'meheira. Amen.